We host these master classes every few weeks, and our email newsletter is the best way to find out about upcoming events like this one. And everyone who signs up today will receive both a transcript and a recording of the call. So if you want to be notified about our next masterclass and get it on your calendar so you don't miss out, I encourage you to sign up for our newsletter. That's the first place that you'll learn about all of our upcoming events and social gatherings. Now today we're doing this masterclass in partnership with Entre Trámites, and you'll be learning all about the Beckham Law, which is Spain's special tax regime designed specifically for foreign professionals. And this is applicable for anybody who's higher earning or in an executive role. And we'll cover the requirements, the application process, the tax advantages that qualified individuals can access. But we'll also be talking about general tax strategies for expats in Spain. So this isn't just limited to the Beckham Law. You can ask any tax-related questions that you have, and feel free to drop them in the chat throughout the conversation. Our speaker will address them as we go along or at the Q&A session at the very end. And to introduce our speaker, Gabriela is here with us, and she's a tax expert with Entre Trámites. And she'll be going into great detail about how the Beckham Law and other taxes apply to foreign professionals like yourselves. And so I want to highlight that at the very end of this call, she'll share very specific strategies and ways that you can determine whether the Beckham Law or other tax implications will apply to your particular situation. So stick around to the very end, and that's where she'll share the most actionable details around how these things could benefit you personally. So with that, I'll pass it on to Gabriela, our wonderful partner from Entre Trámites. Yeah, Gabriela, take it away.
Yes, so hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I think that we are gonna have a good time just learning about Beckham's Law. And please, if in any moment the sound is not good or something, just let me know, and I'm gonna be like attentive to solve it quick. All right. So, well, as Larry was saying, I'm a fiscal advisor in Entre Trámites, so I can help you in everything that you need about taxes. And let's start with this. I'm gonna just give me a moment. I'm gonna share my screen. Right. Can you see my screen? That's okay? Yep. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so, well, we are going to be talking about the special tax regime for expatriates, or well, people know Beckham Law. What is Beckham Law and why is important for people, right? So the first thing that we are going to be talking is the definition, benefits, who can apply, requirements, disadvantage could be, because sometimes it's a benefit, but not for all people, it's a benefit. If you can apply and how to apply, right? So the first thing that we will need to understand is when you are a fiscal resident and why it's important that becomes law. So normally when you're in Spain, you are in the normal regime. When you keep in Spain more than 183 days, you are in a normal regime. It means that you're going to be paying taxes between brackets, and the brackets are starting in 19% and are going to be increasing to 50%. So depending on the amount of income that you are receiving, could be that the normal regime could be really high or really hard for you to get it. It's dependent of the income. So it's really important to understand that. When we talk about Beckham's Law, the Beckham's Law is going to give you the status as a non-resident. That's why your taxes are going to be different. A tax resident pays taxes between different brackets, 19 to 50. But a non-resident pay taxes in 24%. Well, 19% or 24%. But normally, Beckham's Law is going to treat you as non-resident under 24%. Who can apply for this benefit? Normal employees. I mean, as example, if you are working for a normal company or if you are a high qualified professional, you can apply for this. Company directors. And that's something that some people now is confusing. When we talk about company directors, if people that you are planning to open a company or you are going to take the site as a director of a company and you are going to develop or going ahead management activities. You are not going to develop all the activities of the company. If, for example, if you are the only owner of a company, you are planning to work and also be the director, this option is not going to be the best for you. And we will need to think in the entrepreneur option. It's just for directors specifically, remote employees. And that is under the digital nomad visa for, and also people that could be that European people, because some people just think that it's just for digital nomads. No, it's for people that is working remotely. It doesn't matter if you are a foreign person or you are an European person. You just can work remotely, and with that you can apply. Not all the countries are allowed to be under this benefit. The countries that now the tax agencies is like recognizing is all the European Union countries, UK, Russia, UK, Ireland, all those types, US, and Canada. Those are the countries that now they are being recognized for the tax authorities, and you can apply for Beckham Law. If you are working for other company, like other country, like I don't know, could be Dubai, could be Turkey or different, it's gonna be a different situation. Entrepreneur. So normally, if there is a visa or a permission that is called entrepreneur visa. It isn't specifically for those type of but the form that you need to apply for getting the status entrepreneur is for any person that can apply for that. So if you apply for the ENISA form, that is like the entrepreneur plan that you need to apply, and you get it, you can apply for this. And family members. That is different. It's like if a principal person applies for Beckham's Law and you are the family, and could be that your income is good or you are planning to work also, well, could happen different type of things. You can apply as a family member. And the question is, why I'm gonna be applying as a family member if I can apply as an employee, a director, a remote employee? Um, Wait, I'm gonna just read your question, just try to, so can someone repeat? What is we are supposed to apply for in order to qualify for Beckham Law? Okay, yeah, what is like exactly? Is the yeah? It's a term in Spanish. It's a tax regime. This is a tax regime, and if you are like employee for a company in Spain or company out of Spain, I mean, it's not just for people in Spain. It's if you are just being an employee in Spain, a company director in Spain, or a remote employee in different countries. That can work. If I can like answer your question. Um, so I was saying, and the family member, when you are like okay, I'm gonna just finish the question now. So about family member, just to finish this slide. So yeah, family members is when sometimes you have 6 months to apply, and your partner, your couple applies, and then you don't apply from the beginning, but you have a job or you have something, and the 6 months are over. Well, you can apply as a family member because family member have all the fiscal year for apply. And answering to your question, the thing that I'm saying is about the remote employees. When you're a remote employee, you can work for any country. Could be for Spain, could be for because you can work remote for a Spanish company. You can work for companies in different countries. So, but the Spanish authorities or the tax agency is just accepting some countries for being remote employee. Countries like US, Canada, UK people, and all those type of things. Right. So, what are the important requirements? So, this is really important because there is like a mission of information on it. You have, you need to be out of Spain 5 years. And why we say you need to be out of Spain? Because this benefit is also for Spanish people. So, if you're a Spanish citizen and you are out of Spain in the last 5 years, you can apply also. And for foreign people, if you never live in Spain, we can apply. Just keep in your hand that you need to be out of Spain 5 years. Sometimes there are some people that they are traveling to Spain as a tourist because you like any city and different type of things, and they get the empadronamiento. That is something. For in Spain, the empadronamiento is a way that they can say, okay, you are a legal resident in Spain. So in those cases, if you do any empadronamiento, um, the only thing that we will need to do is just to apply for Beckham's Law, and we will need to like present any evidence that you are not living in Spain. Like, hey, you empadron because you think that that was good or something like that. But it's just for any like group of people. And the reason of for transfer. In the last year, that was not a problem for us. I mean, if you were moving to Spain, and then 3 months after you move, you decide to keep in Spain and you find a job. In the last, it was not a problem if you find that. But now, if you move to Spain because you have a job or you are planning to work remotely because you have a visa or different situation, our advice is to apply for this benefit as soon as possible. Because if you arrive, let's say today, and you wait until September to apply, tax agency is gonna be asking why you wait until September to apply if you have the reason now, and they can just put like some conflicts with that. So if you have the reason, just apply from the beginning. Right. And you need to be pending of the deadlines that you have. So normally we are going to be talking about that in some slides. You have 6 months to apply. That's true, but you will need to be careful. So if you arrive in January and you have all the requirements, apply in January, even if you have 6 months. But you arrive in January, but then you get sick, or then you have to go out to the country. Well, you have time and you have reasons. But if you don't have a reason for being out of Spain, don't wait, just apply. Could be like easy, and tax agency is not gonna say anything that way. The disadvantage of Beckham Law, that could be a disadvantage depending on the country. So the first and the most important is the spend deduction. When you have this benefit, as is a benefit, Spain is not allowing you to have other benefits. So you pay like a flat rate of 24%, but you cannot apply deductions. So if you have expenses, any type of like any help, you cannot apply. You cannot take it in account for your taxes. So it's like your gross income with 24%, and that's it. And double taxation. For any type of way you were like in other country or something like that, you cannot apply the double taxation like benefit in Spain. So it's depending on how it's like the country that you're coming from, or the last country that you were living, that we can just manage how to apply double taxation, because Beckham's Law is just a disadvantage in Spain, but you can apply double taxation in the other country. I don't know if that could be like a little bit like strange or rare, but it's like, for example, from people from US. From when you are from US, you need to pay tax, you need to present taxes even if you're not living there. So the idea that, or the plan that we organize is that, okay, you will need to pay taxes to present taxes, because sometimes you don't need to pay in both countries. What you will need to do first, present in Spain, pay the taxes in Spain, the 24% in Spain, and then present it in US. Why? Because in US you can apply for Beckham for the deductions and the double taxation like benefits. So then you can deduct the taxes that you already pay in Spain. So it's just the double taxation could be a disadvantage, but it's dependent. We will need just to plan and just to read on specific cases, just to know how we can arrange that, just to manage. So if you have the case, don't worry, we can just find the solution. So normally we talk about 24%, but 24% is not the only rate that Beckham's Law has. So until 600,000, you're going to be paying 24%. But if you are earning more than 600,000, the difference or the rest of the difference between 600 and the rest, you will need to pay 37% for that. So, example, you are earning 650,000. You're gonna pay 600,000 in 24%, and the 50,000 and 47%. It's the same, like the same brackets like the normal regime, but it's with a high amount for taxes. So I'm just gonna try to explain this like a little bit like quick for when Beckham Law is advisable and when it's not advisable for you. When you're after Spain and you say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be paying a flat rate for taxes and it could be really amazing. Yeah, and that's gonna be for 6 years, well, 5 years plus the year that you apply, and that could be really good to have it. But sometimes it's depending of your income if it's good or not. Normally, we say that if your income is up to 53, normally I recommend 60. But if it's up to 53, probably it's better Beckham Law. But with what we will need to think about this. You are earning, let's say, 55,000, but you have two children, two kids. Okay, wait, because if you have kids, you are gonna receive deductions. So we will need just to review if for you it's better or it's easy to get Beckham's Law or just keep in the normal regime and apply for all the deductions. Because remember, if you have the Beckham's Law, you cannot take deductions. So let's think it. Okay, I'm earning 55. Okay, it could be that I will need just a business plan or just an estimation if Beckham Law is good for me or not. And if you need it, just ask. We can help you with that. If you have a high earnings growth, this year you're gonna be earning 50,000, but in the next year it could be that you're gonna be increasing to 75,000. Okay, now could be 24% is not going to be a good advantage, but in the next year, yeah. And remember that this benefit is for 6 years. So you can think in the present, but also in the short like time. And overseas assets. So there are some people that the income in Spain could be not so much like high, but you have investments out of Spain, but you have properties out of Spain, or yeah, investments or assets and properties, different things. And if we talk about, if we take all your passive income could be really high. So in that idea could be really good just to get Beckham's Law. Why? Because when you get Beckham's Law, you just pay in Spain for the income that is like operating in Spain. So if you have an investment in US and you're receiving dividends or any type of capital gain for that, if you sell a property or something, for that income, you will not or you won't pay taxes for that in Spain. You just pay taxes for the income that you do in Spain. What type of income? Work. Some people think that, because I have a remote job, so my income is not being from Spain, I don't need to pay taxes. No, be careful. You are working in Spain, so the activity is being developed in Spain. So for that income, you will need to pay. But if you're receiving dividends, don't worry. If you're receiving capital gains, don't worry. If you have cryptocurrency out of Spain, don't worry. You're not gonna need to pay taxes for this. If you buy if you take investment in a company in Spain, if you buy a property in Spain, if you receive an inheritance, you will need to pay taxes in Spain for that. Inheritance are not involved in Beckham's laws or are separate. It's a separate like tax, so you will need to pay taxes on it. Capital gains for any type of activity coming from Spain, you will need to pay because it's into the country, so you will need to pay for that. And wealth tax. You don't need to pay wealth tax for your assets out of Spain. But if you buy a property in Spain and the property is up to the exemption, depending to the place that you live, you know that the wealth tax is depending on where is the city or the community that you're living. If the amount of the property or your properties are more than the limits, you will need to pay or present wealth tax. You know that the wealth tax in any like communities is absent, but we will need just to double check where you are living. and how to do it. So I mean, to like giving some explanations in what is this, the same example that I was like just saying. When your income is not too much high, just think it, but it feels like high, like Zin, okay, could be different to have a Beckham Law and an advantage. So this is like how to apply. It's gonna be depending on what is your situation. If you are employee, normally they are gonna be asking for the in a contract, for example, and the resolution of the social security could be a tax certificate from the last country that you live. But if you are being director, they are going to be asking for the RETA registration. If you're being entrepreneur, they are going to be asking for the ENISA registration. So it's depending on the situation. And normally, if you are in within the 6 months, you can apply. Remember that for applying for this, you will need to do it within the model 149. And that was something that was happening with a client. And that person was thinking that he just downloaded the document and just upload the document. The application was done. No, it's telematic. So you will need to open the website and do it online and present it online. Something like rare, but it's really important for tax agency because that application was denied for that. So is that model 149, but be careful how you apply. You can do it by yourself because it's really easy. You just need to fill a form and everything is going to be like solved with that. Um, you will need a passport and you will need a NIE. Well, you know that is depending on where are you. You can get a DNI, a TIE card, or a NIE or COE as official, the green NIE or the white NIE. You will need to have an official document that is saying that you are legal in Spain. And the employment contract is for if you are employee, but it's like gonna be like changing depending on your situation. And that's it. This is like the benefit that you are gonna like need. So the 6 months are really important. Be careful with that. Some people they are thinking that if I am here, but then I go out, Spain. So the 6 where are gonna be when are gonna start counting the 6 months? There's a big question that you need to take. Some people they are moving to Spain, and that is good. I mean, I arrived to Spain, but I don't have the empadronamiento. I don't have any ID. I just travel and I'm here. I'm like a tourist person. Okay, your time in Spain is not starting officially. When is gonna starting, and when is the date that Spain is gonna take in account? The date that you get the NIE, the date that you get the padron, or the date that you like register an economic activity. That is the official date that is going to be important. Always, if you arrive in January and then you're planning to apply in September, be careful. You can apply. That could be work. That could work. For example, if you have the padron in July, that could work. But it's not 100% that could work. So just taking a on that. And you need to know that some people think, okay, I'm working for a company in Spain. I get Beckham Law, but I was like, I finished my job for any reason. You finish your job because you want or something happened. Don't worry, you are not going to lose the benefit because you just finished. If you are planning to get another job, just find another job, and that's it. You don't need to reapply. You don't need to notify. Just continue with your benefit. I finished my job and I'm planning to be autonomous. Okay, now we need to wait, stop, and think about disclosure, right? Um, Always if you are planning to cancel the benefit because you want, because if you want, you can do it, because you are not having all the requirements, or because you want to go out to your country or other country, you can do it. In the same model that we apply, we just do we just cancel the benefit in the same model. There are some deadlines that you need to take in account. The most important thing that this is gonna be here. If you just want to finish the benefit because you're gonna keep in Spain. You want to keep in Spain and then you just want to cancel the benefit, do it. But you will need to do it in November and December. But if you are gonna become an autonomous, or if you are planning to just go out to Spain, don't worry, it's not a problem. Just present it and you have 30 days to apply, and that's it. So that is really like easy in that way. And some people think, okay, if I get the benefit now, but then I go out and then I come back in 10 years, can I apply? Yeah, you can. Because you're gonna have 5 years out of Spain. That is something that is in like in a gray area into the law, but until now we are thinking and we are pretty sure that you can apply again. And the questions about what is the timeline for this 6 years, how and if your family can apply, yeah. Just be careful with the requirements, and if you are planning to apply, please don't become an autonomous before applying for this benefit. And that's it. I think that if you have any question, if you want to book a consultation with me, this is my QR. And I don't know if you have questions about any type of the things that I was talking about, Beckham's Law or taxes could be also any questions. Could be Beckham's Law or any tax, don't worry.
Feel free to jump in with any questions in the chat, or you can unmute and just ask it
Yeah.
too. Gabriel, I think we have one in the chat. I can read it to
Yeah,
you if
I
it's
have
easier.
heard that as the owner of a company, you cannot qualify. It's not exactly like that. So it's depending. You can be the owner of the company, and if you are the director of the company, you can apply. But even your pay as a director is not a problem. You can. It's one of the ways that you can apply. The issue or the situation is if you are going to be the only person for in the company. There is that tax agency saying you are not being a director. You're being an autonomous that is using a company to have better taxes. But if you're going to be the owner and you're going to have employees, you're going to be the director. The As we call it in Spanish, autonomous societario or business autonomo in English, you can do it. It's not a problem.
I'm just going to mute myself because I think I'm going to have all of the questions. Thank you so much for this presentation. Muchas gracias. Pero I spoke to someone a while ago, and that's where I got this information from. And I said, so like even, Bezos, the owner of Amazon, he couldn't qualify? And he said, no, he can't qualify if he owns the majority of shares in the company. And that's why, and so I actually do own a company. I have multiple contractors who work for me. So I'm definitely not the only person, but I was thinking that I didn't qualify for that reason.
Yeah, I think that I know what you're saying. I mean, 2 years ago, there was like the law had like a modification in 2 years ago, like taking the past. If you have more than the 25% of the company, you could like not apply.
Yeah.
But now they changed and they said you can be the only, I mean, you can have the 100% of the company and you can apply.
When did that change happen?
It was officially 2022, but they presented in 2023. And so we have it until last year.
Wow. That's a huge change. Okay. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great. Even in the past, they were not 5 years for applying, they were just 10 years. And now they just dismiss the time for 5. If you are out of Spain 5 years, you can apply. And the last time was 10.
Okay. Muchas gracias.
So is there any other question that you have?
Seems like we have another one in the chat.
Any advice or to say on what you can do to help soften the law? We're coming to the end of the. Yeah, but it's gonna be is depending on the situation. Is if you are being employee or if you have a company. Yeah, it's different. For example, I have a client that he had a company and he was thinking, okay, how I'm gonna reduce my taxes about being an employee, right? That is gonna be different and it's gonna be hard. There are not gonna be too much ways to do like exemptions. That is one. That is if you example invest in other company, not like being the owner just invest, because there are some deductions for people that invest in companies. But for being a normal employee, it's not gonna be like any like strategy. We can just do a business plan, and you can be saving money or things like that just to avoid the way of the situation in that moment. But it's not something that we can do for employees. Just apply for the deduction that as we can, and we find all the deduction that you can apply, but it's the only thing that we can do. For employees, it's like the hardest thing, but for companies, it's really easy, because if you hire someone, you can, as the owner, you can put your salary as you want. So you are gonna reduce your bracket, and then you can take it as a dividend, and you reduce the taxes. It's a way, but it's the situation.
I have one more
So,
question. So for my business,
okay,
we were planning to put it into a trust, which we're planning to do anyway. But again, I had a lawyer sort of be like, be careful what you do, because if the government thinks you're trying to be shady, it'll be a red flag. And so then I was like, okay, do I need to wait to put it in like until after I apply for Beckham, or like, do they tend to look that careful? I'm not doing it to be shady. I'm doing it to protect the assets for passing it along to my children. But do you have any concerns about that, or any advice or anything?
Spain has something. The trust don't like a trust is not existing. I mean, the idea of a trust is not existing in Spain. They have a different concepts, but not as specific as a trust. So under that, it's gonna be like your business. I mean, there is something. If you do the trust, the tax agency can think that this continue being your business and your property or your children property, and they are gonna be with taxes with that. Is understandable that part?
I think so. It sounds like
Yeah,
you're
I
saying it
mean,
doesn't matter. They'll still look at it as mine, as my company, whether it's in my name
yeah,
or in the trust.
exactly, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just as long as it won't make things worse. I just didn't want to mess something up. So, okay, good.
Yeah, in countries like US, they work really so good, but in Spain, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So other?
Any last round of questions? Feel free to ask again. We have the hour booked, but everyone's happy to we're happy to kind of ask as many as people need.
Okay, it was a pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. We will be sending over the slides and a recap to everyone. So thank you very much.
Okay. I'm gonna just stop sharing my screen. So